welcome to yet another entry here in Kalkine Media's popular Invest-Nest webinar series. Now, this entry is very much getting into the spirit of winter, maybe one of my personal favourite locations here, the Duke of Clarence, with a nice little fireplace. We are doing our Fireside chat with Australian innovators, featuring Invion Limited, Holista Colltech, and also Corporality Global. My name is James Preston. I'm an anchor and reporter with Kalkine TV, and I'll be your moderator for today's event. And just before we get started on the session, it is important that we acknowledge that this webinar is for informational purposes only. It's not a solicitation or recommendation to buy, sell, or hold the stock of the company that we are speaking with today, or any companies that do happen to be mentioned inadvertently, or to engage in any investment activity under discussion. Now, we are neither licensed here at Kalkine nor qualified to provide investment advice through this platform, so purely informational purposes only today. But with that said, the whole goal of Kalkine Media's Invest-Nest webinar series is to provide exclusive insights from some of the country's most important companies and to provide an opportunity to have further questions answered outside of our speaker presentations to help you increase your financial IQ. Now, these presentations will be nice and short and sharp. We'll hear from our three speakers and then dive into a series of Q&As. And if there are any further questions you might have in the process of how things unfold, you can just let us know via an email at info@Kalkine Media. Well, innovation today is crossing the bounds of industries to give way to a much more dynamic future. The spheres of innovation have empowered individuals as well as businesses to look beyond existing realms and opt for new age solutions, be it highly effective marketing strategies and techniques, novel treatment for cancer, research and development of wellness products, or innovating health through natural ingredients. The world is witnessing a paradigm shift where newfangled ways of living are replacing conventional concepts and ideas. Now, to help us get our heads around what can be a pretty incredible space and some of the innovations coming out of the country, I'm today joined by three of Kalkine Media's respected clients: the Executive Chairman and CEO of Invion Limited, Thian Chew, Founder and CEO of Holista Colltech, Dr. Rajen, and also CEO of Corporality Global, Priya, Mishra. Now, our first presentation will be by Mr. Chew, who is of course representing Invion Limited. And Thian has previously served as an executive director at Goldman Sachs in both New York and Hong Kong, managing the company's proprietary investments. He's also worked at Morgan Stanley and at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, Schools of Business and Life Sciences. And as for Invion, it's an Australian life sciences firm which is leading the global research and development of Photosoft TM technology to treat several types of cancers, atherosclerosis, and infectious diseases. And to talk more about this technology and all the other innovations at Invion Limited, I now throw it over to Thian. Thanks for being here with us today, mate.
Thanks, James. Appreciate it. So let me just share the screen if that works. So I'm going to try to keep to just the high-level points today, and maybe just talk about a couple of hopefully interesting aspects of what we're doing. Essentially, we have a technology that's called photodynamic therapy, and we're primarily focused on bringing it to the clinical trials in cancer. And we're also doing, which we should do over the coming year or so. We also will be looking at its application in a couple of other disease areas, including infectious diseases and atherosclerosis, which is associated with heart disease, which is basically the #1 cause of death globally. So basically, I'll walk through some of the technology. I'm going to talk about what we've found and where we're going through next. And the key takeaway to bear in mind is the potential of our technology, the fact that we're approaching clinical trials. We're looking at more than one type of cancer indication, and we have a modality that we believe can actually make a real difference in clinical application. So if we could go to the next slide. This is really the technology. So by definition, photodynamic therapy means that there's a drug and there's light. And if you really look at how we apply it, it's essentially a 5-step process. First step is you've got to have this drug that ideally accumulates in the cancer tissue, but not in healthy tissue. So that's really the objective there, because the reason for that is once you shine a certain frequency of light, it creates a process, so it actually generates what's known as reactive oxygen species, which really kills cells. And because it's localized in the cancer cells, it kills just the cancer cells, and because it's not localized in healthy cells, it doesn't impact and have any off-target effects. And so what that does is if you can get a photosensitizer or a drug that only localizes in cancer tissue, not healthy tissue, then you have the potential here to have very, very targeted therapy. Now, the second aspect of this therapy is it triggers an immune response. So what happens is when you, after treating and the tumor is actually reduced in size, we've done some in vivo work that's really showed that the immune system starts kicking in and recognizing those cancers and starts fighting them on their own. And I'll go through a little bit more of that in the later slides. So if we could go to the next slide. So ideally what we want is something that is selectively absorbed by cancer cells and not healthy tissue. And we actually have a clinical candidate that has that. We've also shown it works on more than one type of cancer. A lot of treatments out there right now very much focus on one type of cancer. We've actually demonstrated it on multiple types. As I mentioned before, we also stimulate the body's natural immune response. And I'll talk through one of the experiments we did and some of the findings we had there. We also have, we've actually looked at collaborating, not just as a monotherapy, but looking at working with another cancer drug, immunotherapy drug called immune checkpoint inhibitors. And we actually found that we had some additive benefits, which means there could be collaboration with existing therapies in the future. We found that our technology is non-toxic, it's safe, it has really good therapeutic profile. And that's really where we're at now, is we're looking at translating this technology into something that we can bring into clinical trials in more than one cancer type, which we hope to start over the coming year. Go to the next slide, please. We're working with folks like the Hudson Institute of Medical Research. And we've done a lot of work over the last few years with them. Particularly demonstrating the efficacy across different types of cancer. And that migrates to what we're doing with the Peter MacCallum Cancer Center. And they run about 500 clinical trials concurrently. And we're working with them on anogenital cancer applications. And so we'll continue to be looking at collaborating with world-class institutes and really bringing the best of breed expertise into leveraging our technology into the clinical context. Go to the next slide. Okay, so let me walk through some findings that we had, and maybe the next slide is probably a good summary. If you could go to the next slide, please. Great. So if you look, we've actually done a lot of testing, both in vitro in a test tube, as well as in vivo in a live animal model, showing that we've had activity against multiple cancer types. So that includes ovarian, colorectal, liver, T-cell lymphoma, triple negative breast cancer, lung. We've had multiple cancers. And the chart on the top right basically shows that with a relatively low level of our photosensitizer, it basically kills these cancer cell types quite effectively, irrespective of the nature of the cancer. And so if you look at kind of the benefits of what we have, we've actually demonstrated already that we can actually regress and treat tumors across multiple cancers. The other aspect is our technology is actually quite potent and actually has that very selective characteristic. So teleporphin sodium is an approved PDT drug that's been around for a little while. We've found that we're actually 600 times more potent than teleporphin. And we also found that at that stage, at these levels, we didn't find any toxicity levels. So it's safe. It has good therapeutic application. Actually, in our mouse models, we found that the toxicity, there was no toxicity even at 100 times the level that we used to treat the mice. And what we also found was within hours, the drug actually accumulated in the tumor And then within a day, it had cleared totally from the healthy tissue. And within the tumor, the drug actually stayed there for about 3 days. So if you put that together, it's actually got a really good application because it gets straight to the tumor, it clears from the healthy tissue, and it sticks around in the tumor. So that you've got a nice period of time to shine the light to basically kill those cancer cells. And the other interesting thing about it is that there's actually 2 wavelengths that activate this compound. So the first one is in the red light spectrum, and that actually essentially kills the cancer cells it accumulates in. The second one is actually only fluoresces. So if you actually see the bottom right-hand picture, that's actually, you could actually see in this organ that that pink stuff is really where the tumor cells are. Even those little metastatic spots pop up. And as you know, in surgery and cancer, it's very difficult to really figure out what's healthy tissue and what's the cancerous tissue. And this is where basically the surgeons will have a much better shot at getting the tumors out. In fact, they've found that I think about 30% of tumors are missed by surgeons, and they cut out 30% of healthy tissue just to be sure. So this could potentially have both a diagnostic as well as a therapeutic application. And that's what we're excited about. We just have a very broad range of application of this technology. Now, if you don't mind flipping to the next couple of slides, if you can skip that. Skip that. Skip that. Those slides basically, and you can stay there. Those slides basically said it works on multiple cancer types. Okay, this is another sort of experiment we did, which was really, really interesting for us. Triple negative breast cancer is really a pretty nasty disease. It's chemo resistant, and there's limited treatments that you can have for it. What we did was we inserted the tumor into these mice and we treated them. And what we found that was after the treatment, there was full regression of the tumor, even metastases. So this model, this basically a tumor model typically metastasizes. The metastases went away, and the mouse essentially didn't have any sign of cancer after. So that was really interesting as a first section. The second section of the test found something even more interesting, which is we actually tried to reimplant the triple negative breast cancer tumor cells into the mouse, and they wouldn't grow, which basically means that the mouse's immune system has started identifying and fighting the cancer itself. And recurrence of cancer is really one of the biggest challenges in cancer treatment. You can cut it out, you can treat it, but just the recurrence is really the issue to address. If you go to the next slide, it really summarizes it here. If you look on the left-hand side, it's if you look at the pre-treatment column, the controls, which are basically the equivalent of untreated sort of mice, the tumor basically grew, and you can see the lesion getting pretty large at the end point. For the treated side, you can see it started about the same, and the lesion went away at the end point, and that includes trying to reimplant the tumor into the mouse. And so this basically has a potential application in cancers where they recur, where you're trying to sort of find a way to sort of stop the spread. It's a lot of really interesting aspects, and we're actually doing more work now to really characterize the specific immune responses happening within the system. Next slide, please. So another aspect is, can we work together with other therapies? And one pretty established type of immunotherapy is called immune checkpoint inhibitors, which basically means you switch on and switch off basically an ability for the body to recognize and fight the cancers. A lot of cancers can avoid your immune system because it basically hides from the immune system in the body. And checkpoint inhibitors actually are quite widely used, but they only work 10-20% of the time. They're not really that broad-based. what we found is when we added our therapy to the checkpoint inhibitor therapy, it actually improved the efficiency and effectiveness by over 60%. So why is that important? Well, the industry now has basically a number of checkpoint inhibitors, and many of them coming towards the end of their patent. In fact, there's one company that actually has 30% of its global revenues, one of the big pharma companies that just comes from one checkpoint inhibitor, and it essentially comes off patent in 6 years' time. By working together with these people, there's a potential here, these partners, to basically extend and create new IP. And what that creates is an ability for them to extend their revenue period. So what that means for us at Invion is we are focused on developing monotherapy in the clinic. We're also opened up an avenue to collaborate with strategics and pharma companies. The next slide, please. So what's next for us? In terms of cancer, the key for us is to get to the clinic and get to clinical trials. And so that's something we aim to do over the coming year. We're looking at skin cancers, specifically basal cell carcinomas, which account for about 70% of skin cancers. And we're also working with the Peter MacCallum Cancer Center on anogenital cancers. And we'll be exploring other solid tumor cancers as well. And that's going to be primarily focused in Australia. And once we have some interesting results, then we can look at the next steps in expanding more globally. In terms of the other disease areas I mentioned earlier, atherosclerosis and infectious disease, we're really in a much earlier stage of development. They're very, very big markets, as we know from our experience with COVID-19, but it creates a long tail of potential commercialization opportunities as we do more research and discovery work in this space. So that's where we're at. I think I've probably come to the end of my time. So let me take a pause here. And James, do you want to guide in terms of next steps?
Oh, Thian, I'm just in awe of the work that you're doing. I mean, you know, we saw those before and after photos, essentially, of the two mice there, with how the drugs impact the recovery from cancer. It's just incredible, the work you're doing. So I really do take my hat off to you, and just the sheer fact that we can even prevent the recurrence of cancer potentially re-emerging. It's incredible work. So congratulations to yourself and the team at Invion.
Well, thanks very much, James. I mean, that the team has been working very, very hard on this, and we're very excited about it. That there's this really special feeling. We got something special here. But you know, the proof of the pudding is getting it into people and you know, demonstrating a difference there. And that's the work we're doing now, is getting ready for that process.
Yeah, and I can imagine it's probably quite a long process too. Of course, you'll need the approval of the TGA, for example. So lots of different steps to go through. But Thian, thank you so much for that. And I'm sure we'll have plenty of questions coming your way when we do our Q&A session a little later in the piece.
Great, thank you.
All right, well, let's move on to our second speaker for today as part of this innovation topic here for our Invest-Nest webinar series. Our next speaker is the founder and CEO of Holista Colltech, Dr. Rajen Manekar. Now, Dr. Rajen is also serving as the managing editor of the Journal of Tropical Medicinal Plants, the world's only journal which focuses on medicinal plants from the tropics. He's also a member of the Standing Committee at the Ministry of Health in Traditional Medicine and has served as the organising chairman of the 3 series of the Women's Health and Asian Traditional Medicine, or the WAT Medicine Group. Now, Holista Colltech itself is one of the leading research-driven biotech companies in Australia, involved in developing, manufacturing and marketing health and wellness products. And to let us know more about what the company is up to exactly, I'll now turn it over to Dr. Rajen. Rajen, thank you for being here today, mate.
Inviting, and thank you for the opportunity to share. Basically, focusing on natural products, and really we want to see how we can make nature work better for people, for their health, for their well-being, and hopefully the longevity. So, I mean, this is the normal disclaimer that we put in every presentation that we put out to the public. So we just announced on the ASX platform 2 hours ago, we've hit record revenues, rebounding from the previous years, and we've continued with our growth on all fronts, which is positive and necessary. The momentum will definitely continue into quarter one of 2022. We see a very positive outlook for the coming year. So very quickly, between 2021, we've done several things. We've appointed a distributor in China for the cosmetic collagen, which is one of our divisions. We've had work done on the rapid test kits. We got trials showing that the Nat Shield is effective and remains on the skin for 12 hours, making it a long-standing or long-lasting sanitizer. We've launched the nasal balm, the water-soluble vitamin D, and we've seen increasing orders for GI Light and the sugars from Costanzos. And this year, we got a commercial order from Country Farm, which is a company that buys for Starbucks in Malaysia. And they are in the midst of launching our low GI croissants in their stores in Malaysia. We also did a positive test for an all-natural nano disinfectant for COVID as well. And so that's just a quick view of where we've been the last 2 years. So as of end of June, we've had sales receipts of 2.8 million, increasing by 55% year on year, breaking the record high of the first quarter. Our operation cash flow has also improved significantly in quarter two of 2022. And that was while we were stepping up inventory investment. As we're all well aware, there is an issue right now globally in terms of logistics, inventory. Also, since nearly all purchases are in US dollars, we thought it's good that we start investing in inventory versus the declining Malaysian ringgit on the Australian dollar. So this, I think, we will see positive outlooks in the course of 2021, persisting into 2022. We've invested heavily in building inventory for raw materials in first quarter of 2022. And this, as I said earlier, is helping us both managing inflation as well as supply risks as we continue to meet customer orders on a strong year-on-year growth. So in terms of performance, we've seen a full recovery. When we see how we performed in 2019 and 2020, 2021 revenues were up 13% to a record of 8 million. We narrowed our losses from 5.6 to 1.2 million, and 3 out of the 4 divisions posted double-digit growth. Our gross margins expanded, both in improving our cost control and at the very same time changing our sales mix, moving towards more higher margin products. The division that we have the largest division in Malaysia, where we are the prominent player in pharmacies. We have 2 market-leading brands by AC Nielsen. We are the leading fish oil in Malaysia, and that is Pristine. And we're also the leading probiotic in Malaysia, and that's Lacto5. We grow faster than market. At least at second quarter 2022, we have a 34% growth over the previous corresponding period to 1.5 million Aussie dollars. And the global demand is growing at 8.9%. So we're growing well above global demand. New products, water-soluble vitamin D, Into Block, and all that are lined up now to assist for the growth. There is obviously, I've been on 2 different webinars with Food Navigator. There's been a huge demand for health supplements, specifically for immunity products. And in the immunity space, we've got products that improve immunity. And for the first time, we have consumers who never really bothered about their health, who were smokers, drinkers, obese, never go to gym, but now walking into pharmacies looking for products to boost their immunity. So the market in Malaysia is growing about 20% 22% according to Zulik Pharma, our distributor and the largest distributor for nutraceuticals in Malaysia, and we are growing above that. For the healthy food ingredients, which we have now ongoing orders from customers like the US bread supplier Costanzos and the Asian beverage maker Rex Industries. As I mentioned earlier, we've received the first order from Berjaya-owned Starbucks and Country Farms, both for our low-GI ingredient sugar, and they are now, in fact, we've got a call with them this afternoon to take this forward, developing a bigger plan and a wider plan for Starbucks Malaysia. At the request of Country Farm, who have got a position with plant-based products. In fact, Starbucks Malaysia was is the distributor of Beyond Meat, for example. So they requested us to develop a range of products which we are now developing and presenting to them. Berjaya also owns other franchises in Malaysia, 7-Eleven, Kenny Rogers, and Simply Food. So we are also discussing with Country Farms, the key contact within Berjaya Foods, on how we can potentially tap into these channels of distribution. The area that we see has a tremendous growth is infection control. And infection control is an area that we are focusing on. I think as we see, as of last night, in about 107 countries worldwide, COVID is increasing again. And there's already an increase as well in terms of hospitalization. So, COVID will always be around, unfortunately. And we want to provide products that can help boost immunity and products that can help in this testing. So the one product that we developed, and we've already announced it as well on the platform 2 months ago, is this Bio Nano Silver that we have trials now showing that it kills 99.99% of human coronavirus. We're focusing on opportunities on the B2B space, looking at industry applications, for industrial fumigation, for example, and our new products, nasal balm and the nasal wipes, contribute to this continuing growth. The positive outlook is to restructure our distribution partner and launch the e-commerce platform, and we want this, running roughly middle of next month. Ovine collagen. We are the only company that makes collagen from sheep skins, and we've patented process. Sheep, as I've discussed before on this platform, is the only mammalian collagen apart from bovine and porcine, which is totally and completely acceptable in terms of culture, in terms of religion, in terms of social bias, and also sheep generally is a very friendly animal. We talk about Mary had a little lamb, Baba black sheep. So it's a very friendly animal. We have now a cosmetic product that we launch or we sell via Ben Mayer to a Thai customer. Then we worked with a state-owned enterprise called Guangzhou Symbio Cosmetic Company. We've already got approvals in China, and now we're now finished with the development products trials. We're starting to look at commercial arrangements. We're shipping off more stock to China. As we all know, all of China's imports have been slower than expected due to their lockdowns, which have been fairly long and pronounced. But our collagen, I think, will have an opportunity because CBO is one of the 3 contract manufacturers of China, and they are looking to substitute this with a product that has been banned by the Chinese government since last year. We believe that collagen will be a very important part in cosmetics going forward, and we think that there'll be something significant growing in China as we are developing it now. So in summary, right, we had a good year. We rebounded in 2021 results with momentum persisting into this current year. We continue to expand our margins with cost control and a change of sales mix. There is good demand for Holista's products now across Malaysian market. We are pushing it for the China and the US markets now. There is a growth driver for new products and global partnerships, right? And the revenue for the first half of 2022 is up by 26%. And the second half of the year, we expect to show improved results into quarter 3 and quarter 4 of this year. Very quickly, board members, that's myself there, and then Walter Joseph, who is our non-executive director, Miss Lorraine King, also a non-executive director, Jay Stevenson is our company secretary, Roscoe Moore is a retired US Surgeon General. He was at one point in charge of the US Public Service. He was also with the FDA, and right now he is one of the 40 professionals, a part of a global alliance that advises governments on pandemics and healthcare management, public health responses for COVID. So that's very briefly where we are at as a company, and I'm happy to stay on and take questions. Thank you.
Rajen, thanks for that presentation, mate. Really interesting, all the different work you're doing, especially with the collagen products. I think those are particularly innovative. So much like the work that Invion is doing, I do take my hat off to yourself and also Holista, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of questions coming your way in a little bit of time. So thanks for sticking around with us. We'll get to those just after we go to our next presenter though. But once more, Rajen, thank you so much.
Thank you, James. Thank you so much.
Well, let's push on now to our third guest speaker for today, and that is the CEO of Corporality Global, Miss Priya Mishra. Now, Priya is a highly sought after consultant, speaker, and is a respected author as well. Basically, she can do it all. She also holds prowess in building businesses by the use of maturity models and effective marketing strategies. Corporality Global was co-founded by Priya with the mission to develop a revolutionary approach in defining marketing objectives for its clients. And to take us through that approach, I'll now turn it over to Priya herself. Priya, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Really appreciate for today's opportunity. And I would like to welcome everybody. Thank you. This is a great opportunity for me to share my knowledge and about the company. I would like to share my screen if it's okay with you guys. So welcome. As you can see, our slogan is ideation with fearless creativity. So we are very much about creating a lot of ideas and working with the people's vision. Majority of companies reach out to us, they have the idea and we make it real and help them to create the brand and the positioning, what they want to vision. So in today's discussion, I would like to talk about a little bit the company, our edge, and then we will move on how, since it is all about, innovation and especially biotechnology and all we are discussing, we're going to a little bit discuss how we are helping in that area in innovation space and what all other services we are offering. So let's go on that. About us, we are Corporality is a strategic management consulting firm specialized in very specific to the business development. So it comes to the marketing and customer experience or brand positioning or digital media, or either the blue ocean strategy. We work with the people's requirement, and it's a very tailor-made boutique solution we offer, right? And we have been in market since 2014. It's been 8 years. So we are celebrating our 8th birthday on the 2nd of September, and we are having a big event on that. So we would like to invite on everybody whosoever wants to join on it. Our values, it's, what is our difference? What is our point of difference? Why people reach out to us and why we have been doing and able to sustain ourselves, because we always talk about our sustainability model and growth model and what is my KPI and ROI. Marketing is it's a very important pillar for the businesses. So any business, I always sell that there are a couple of pillars, and the marketing is a strength of the pillar, because it brings the sales, and sales brings the revenue brings the growth. So we play a very important role in any business growth, and we are very much about bringing the ethics and the values and maintaining the transparency. What all the pain area people reach out to us, that when they found there is a technological gap, or there is people are not able to understand what kind of a communication, what kind of a narrative we should be able to giving. Majority of innovation-based company they are very good at what they are doing, but they have always been challenged on giving the edge and understanding to the layman language. And that's where we pitch in. We help them to actually create the story and the narrative they want to say, so that everybody can understand whosoever is their audience. We are very research-based company. So saying, for example, we are very helping people on the national and international level. And we are not for everybody. We are very focused on where we want to actually stand up, and we all help businesses to go global or national. And that's why our company name is Corporality Global. Our website is Corporality Global. So we help businesses to think big and grow big and create the impact in the business. So we are very research based. We work with the go-to market, or in our very own interactive blueprint product is very innovation based company, research based company, education based company. So that's where our edge is. Our ecosystem is very strong in that sense. Like, we also help not just the digital point of view. These days, I know digital is everything, and people are going into digital economy and digital disruption and digital growth. But at the same time, we can not ignore a couple of other channels. So we help businesses to create event or go to the TV or radio, whatever is required to create your position. That's what we are all about. So we're very focused on whatever ecosystem required to grow and position and live your vision. We help you in marketing and business development point of view. And we always discuss, in most of my discussion, I mentioned that if you are trying to survive, it's not a business. If you cannot grow and you cannot create a sustainability, and you cannot bring the sustainability among your team members and the confidence of sustainability, then it's really very hard to survive in, business aspect. So this is our signature product, still brand positioning, and we're very proud of it. And what our research says that in today, especially in the biotech, since we are discussing a lot on the biotech, so I thought I'll bring some number. In Australia, this is IBS World data, 8.9 billion technology in Australian market is the size of market, right? 3.6% biotechnology in Australian market size growth is this in 2022 we are talking about. 2.4% is a biotechnology in Australian annualized market size growth, from 27 to 2022. So you can see there is a huge requirement. People are actually working towards it. People are investing a lot in it. And what we found, it's like there are 4 different areas where people are investing in terms of when it comes to the biotechnology specifically. It's like anti-aging or fertility tech, or even the nanomedicine is a very big thing given the current scenario. And CRISPR diagnostic is also a very important area where people are investing a lot these days. Any innovation-based company, this is the biggest challenge. Like, if you are launching a product in the market and there is no competition, there is no awareness, education becomes a very big, part of it. So educating the end consumer or the people who are involved, like a medical system or the doctors or whomsoever you want to reach out to, it becomes a very important factor for you to educate them. So we help you to create the whole entire educational process and the journey we go through with you, so that your potential product reach to the market where you want to actually send it and want to thrive in your product through your product. And you want to give the value to you. So as I mentioned before, Interactive Blueprint is our very unique product, which we created very, very specific to the innovation-based company and an R&D-based company. Because this is, I was working with a medtech company, and I noticed with that company that the product was very, very unique, and it was related to dental hygiene. And I didn't know there are a lot of health issue happens because of the if you have a mouth problem, your saliva is not healthy enough and all those things. So, but general public, the consumer is not aware, right? So what we did with that product, that we created a lot of educational program. We reach out to the universities and ask them to give us some kind of a credentials if they can, because we give them the free product to use it and give us some kind of testimonial to understand that if educated people can also use it and if their credential works. So we work with the research paper, we work on the white paper, we work on the blogs, we work on videos, we did a couple of blogging and podcasting and medical related doctors seminar and all. That'll help them to educate the end user and consumers and dental practitioners to understand and use it and recommend that product. So that's the kind of product things it is required. When there is no competition, it's good problem to have, but at the same time it creates the new problem that people are not aware how to use it, why I should use it, and that sense of uncertainty and a sense of insecurity. Is it safe enough? Right? So that's why we need to educate our consumer, and we help using this one. We also help businesses to go to market. So say, for example, if people wants to come from Malaysia, India, US, the company I was working with was from the Finland, we can help them to go from A market to B market. And for that, we do market research, we do market segmentation, we find the voice of consumer, and then we start doing how to do the product launch and how to maintain the distribution model and all that. So it's a full service go-to-market offer we provide to the businesses. Other than that, some people hire us. Like I'm working with a US-based company. I'm a global CMO there. So what we offer, if you have your own marketing team, we help businesses to do the outsource, become their outsource CMO, and we bring the latest knowledge, because we are working with the other companies as well. We have been doing a lot of research and all. So we bring the knowledge, and not only that, we also come with the team. So if you have a lack of team and you need some kind of a consulting as well as execution support, we bring that. And with this kind of a services, like whether it being your outsourced CMO or CEO or a CXO, customer experience officer, it becomes a need these days, because if you are having 1 or 2, 3, 4 team in your company, it becomes a very, very narrow experience, because we have a larger team, we have larger experience, we are working with the multiple companies, and we bring uniqueness in your team. So having your outsourced CMO helps a lot to bring the newness in your company, and the new ideas, new execution model, and the ease, and also resource management. I mean other side benefits you can imagine what all we bring in the business. So that's where we are. So me and my husband started this company 8 years ago, and we have been working helping businesses throughout. And in our 8 years of growth, and given the COVID period, I would say it was a very interesting year. And we have seen, and I've always suggested people, we all know the crisis or risks can come. And when there is a problem, they don't knock at your door and then come. They just come. So I always be prepared, because these kind of things are gonna come sooner or later. Maybe small problem, maybe big problem, we don't know. That the uncertainty, the war, the COVID situation, there are so many virus issues happening. And why not we prepare ourselves? Why not we prepare for the market? How can we quickly adopt to the new things? How can we adopt to the new crisis and new situation, so that we don't go down the line. And if marketing is not there, your sales pipeline is not busy enough for you to sustain, build a sustainable business, work for the growth. So thank you, James. That's it from my side. And, I'm open for any questions.
Oh, well, thank you, Priya. The honor is all ours. It's certainly a case. And I think there could be a bit of useful crossover between yourself and Invion and Holista as well to try and get them to the next level in terms of that marketing there. So I think there's certainly a nice little connection that could be happening at the end of today, that's for sure. But yes, as you mentioned, we do have to continue moving forward, and it is now time for our rapid fire questions. So what we'll do here is we'll try and keep the answers from all of you to be reasonably short, and I'll get Rajen and Thian to also turn on your cameras here, and then just in between the questions, if you're not answering them, just quickly chuck the mic on. But let's begin with Invion themselves. So Thian, we'll get you into here, mate. What would you say is the highest priority for Invion right now?
Highest priority is to start our clinical trials. So as you mentioned before, there's a lot of work to do before you get there. Certainly around safety talks before you get to people, and also just to make sure we have the quality of materials. But no doubt that is our number one objective.
Yeah, tremendous. Now, Rajen, one for you as well. Would you say the post-lockdown phase brought any surprises for you? Did it, I suppose, throw up a couple of interesting challenges in terms of the work that you had to do?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the biggest problem worldwide right now is supply chain and inflation, both of products, commodities, but also deflation of both the ringgit and the Australian dollar. So, that's going to be a navigating issue. Apart from that, I think our highest priority now is to get the infection control going in this post-pandemic world. And we really want to do something with collagen. I think there's a big opportunity there down the line beyond the cosmetic.
Yeah, terrific. Now, Priya, one for you. What has been your favorite work memory so far? Obviously, you started this with your husband. You've been running a very successful business for a while now, but what stands out for you?
For me, it's the challenges I face, and I love when I'm able to help people especially in the crisis situation to survive, because that last 2 years, if anything, I have been learning with other clients and the challenges, and when they were losing 60, 70, 80% work within like 1 month, or say lockdown happened. Some companies, like I was working with 4 event-based companies, they were like gone within 2 weeks. So my biggest, that's what I learned. Build a sustainable business that you can survive. People always say, oh, don't save for the rainy season, money and all, but because you have to take the risk. But at the same time, I'm saying that if you're going in 2 weeks time, it's not a business. You need to understand this kind of a crisis can occur in given scenario, in your personal life, professional life, geopolitical situation, economical reason, political uncertainty. There's so many external threats are, continuous dancing. If you pay attention to it, you need to be prepared for that, and that's what I learned. And that's why I'm always enforcing these days, build a sustainable business, know your exit plan, know your, how you're going to survive if things are going to go south.
Look, I think we've had more than enough to contend with the last 2 years. I mean, you look at this year alone, we've got the Russia-Ukraine war, we've still got COVID hanging around, third wave happening now. So yes, there's never a shortage of things to contend with. That is for sure. Thian, back to you now, mate. Now, obviously there's been a lot of discussion today about the work you're doing with those cancer treatments, but let's take a step away from that a little bit. How's the other research going for some of your other products and other things that you're looking to, I suppose, create a solution for?
Yeah, they're going well. It's, they are new disease areas. There has been early stage research using other PDT technologies. We have a lot of the, characteristics that overcome a lot of shortcomings from the past. It takes time to find the right partners. It takes time to do certain tests, and discovery is a very uncertain thing. So discovery is basically when you're trying to figure out where your technology can be applied. And that can take a long time. So there's an uncertain period there. In terms of cancer, we're well past that area. We know which drug candidate we're using. We know what we have to do. That's a much more predictable pathway. But there are a lot of interesting people we're looking to potentially collaborate with, and I think that'll be another interesting sort of thing to watch out for.
Absolutely. Rajen, to you now, mate. Your company is going strong in the global health and wellness industry. What do you think have been the key growth drivers for your recent performance?
It's definitely increased consumer awareness of the need to be healthy. I mean, we knew from COVID, those who are not healthy were dying, were entering the ICU, and those who entered the ICU, if they were diabetic, obese, had some form of comorbidity, they were dying more. And I think this message is kind of strung in people. So I see just an increased need for people to be healthy. I see an increased need for immunity products, especially among children. There's definitely a concern about elderly, right? Especially as we see now, as COVID comes in more and more waves, and despite the vaccines, people are still getting ill. And I think this is a driver really for, I need to be healthy myself. Whether I vaccinate, that's a separate issue. I just want to be healthy myself.
Well, let me put you on the spot then. I mean, outside of using some of your own Holista products, what do you do to keep healthy? Is there a bit of an exercise bike in the house? Is it 100 push-ups a day?
Well, for a start, I make sure I get 7 to 8 hours of sleep, because we found that those who sleep have much better immune systems. And sleep, fortunately, is free. It's free, but people don't sleep enough. We are, as they say, wired but tired, right? So the other thing is eat right, eat good. I'm very big on what I see as low carb approaches, low carb, no carb, keto, low GI. So I take a very low GI lifestyle. And yes, I tend to do about 40 to 50 push-ups a day and a little bit of breathing.
Very nice. Look, I'm at 25 so far today, but I can tell you now, this is all me not doing what you're suggesting, getting enough sleep. So hopefully I can at least fix that part. Priya, we'll come to you now. Obviously, this is a pretty interesting day that we're having here, discussing all these different things. Good to have, I suppose, different perspectives from healthcare industry and obviously your marketing there. What would you say is the trend in marketing at the moment? Where are things going? We've heard a lot about the metaverse, for example. Is that an area you're looking to explore, or what are your clients?
Yes, virtual reality is coming more real, to be honest, and especially the newer generation is actually very inclined towards it. And not only that, the drone and VR, and there are so many technological development is happening, and market is not adopting. And recently, a company approached me, and they wanted to be voice search friendly. Because I don't know if like car is literally, if you are driving, an advanced car is actually telling you what all the restaurants on that street, where is your petrol pump, all that information you are getting in the car, AI is talking to you. So people are looking forward that, and they say, this new things come, this voice search is happening. I said, Siri came 13, 14 years ago. Like we are like almost 1.5 decades delayed for that things to be adopted. It's like when car came, the car seat came 10 years later when there were a lot of death happening. The thing is that market needs to be adopted based on the futuristic approach. I always talk to people, think what's coming, right? Market is already trying to introduce a lot of electrical vehicle and AI based, and drone is coming. There's so many new technological development is happening. We should be ready to adopt. And people have been talking about, is this AI is gonna be replacing this drone and robot is gonna be replacing. I always say this is a change of job. Just need to be more educated towards that. And once you be educated towards that, you will adopt to the new skill set. All a human needs to do to adopt to a new skill set. And once you adopt to that, and once you are, more acceptance, if you'll bring in your mindset, then you'll be prepared much faster than, after things are in the market. So keep up with the futuristic approach mindset, and things will be all right.
I like that. Forward thinking. That is literally the key to, I think, most success in life these days. If you get stuck exactly where you are, you can't push out of your comfort zone, you're in all sorts of trouble. Now, speaking of trouble, we have come pretty much to a close here. One final question for each of you here, and I've got to put you a little bit on the spot. Thian, we'll come back to you. So obviously we've spoken a bit today about your Photosoft technology. I understand there's a new patent application for it. What does that mean for the company, and which other global markets are you targeting for new patents?
Yeah, so the patent process starts off with a national filing, and then you go international. Once you go international, you essentially have started a clock, and assuming you ultimately get those patents, you're good for 20 years. Now, we had a patent protection already on the Photosoft technology, but that dated back to 2014. And so by developing, actually, we were meant to go to clinical trials a couple of years ago, but this little thing called COVID kind of interrupted the process. So we actually took a step back and developed a whole bunch of new compounds, which are actually even more potent than our previous candidate. And so on the back of this work we did over the last couple of years, we have a large number of new potential compounds and a lot of new IP. And that's where we basically started the IP process. Now it'll extend for us essentially to the global arena. Our license essentially covers us for Australia, New Zealand, many parts of Asia Pacific. We've been acquiring more licenses as we been getting better results. But I think these, the new IP essentially extends our exclusive period another 2 decades, and so that gives us just more time and protection to commercialize our technology.
Yeah, mate, some big advancements are set to occur for your company in the next 20 years. I think that is very clear for everyone to see, especially off the back of your presentation today. So once more, well done on the work you are doing. Now let's come across here to Dr. Rajen. This is your final question, my friend. Now, you've spoken plenty today about your love for collagen and using it in some of the work that you're doing. So I'm going to finish off on a note there. You're the only company at the moment involved in manufacturing Australian-made sheep collagen. How do you plan to leverage that and, I suppose, the dominance in the market and use it to your full potential?
Well, first of all, collagen is the most common protein in the human body, right? All of us lose it as we age, and many of us lose it in the event of injury, burns, but also there's a huge potential market for surgery, organ transplantation, organ printing, where the key ingredient will be collagen, right? So we've not been investing in this. We've not looked at this space, but this is something that we want to go forward into because it is the most common raw material of any organ. And we think that we're too small as a company. We need to partner with players. And I don't think any company in Western Australia really has the capacity to go global. So we are working right now to see how we can work with partners globally to take this technology beyond made in Australia, but consumed globally. It's been very, very tough and very, very difficult. I make no promises, but we're trying very hard to do something with partners.
Like the key thing is though, Rajen, I mean, you're still trying to innovate, and that's crucial in this sector at the moment, especially when you consider the things that we have dealt with for the past 2 years. I mean, COVID pretty much wrapped up now, but still lingering.
Yeah, one kilogram of medical grade collagen right now in the world market is $540,000 US, more than gold, But we are right now playing in the shores. We need to get deep into the ocean. We need to beat all the sharks in between and find the pearl. It's not an easy task, and it's certainly beyond us. We need to work with partners.
Look, I love the analogy, and I don't think my little canoe in my garage can help you too much, but I do wish you all the best for the future with that, that's for sure. Priya, we'll come to you finally here. Now, I think this one is a very topical question for you, given the age that we now live in of social media. Would you say the influencer culture has changed the way that you look at marketing and branding with your business?
Yes, of course, social media has changed a lot of thinking, but at the same time, it's also created a lot of confusion, and creating, and I always say, and the Bambora company always talks about it, that don't pollute the ocean. The kind of information has been thrown out there without doing a proper research, and based on this just assumption or the false news, One false news you put, and anybody can put any data without doing a proper research, and it creates a lot of confusion and a problem for people. So I always say, are you aware that within a minute, 8,000 blogs is being posted in Australia only, right? The kind of pollution we are doing without having the enough knowledge, and it's just the replica of the same old narrative. But the thing is that people need to be more innovative. It's the age of innovative. You need to make sure that you are not creating a confusion. And there is a monitoring required for the information is floating on the social media. There should be a bit more responsible people required in the market. Marketing is a very responsible job. I do believe in it. And we have been actually demonized a lot, that we create a lot of false information and we make more fancy and all those things. But at the same time, if we'll take our proper responsibility and we will not pollute and we will do a proper job, then I think it's a very unique area of expertise for people to have. And I'm very proud to be in this area. And it's been changed a lot, and it is gonna change. It's changing technology, there was a time people say technology is everlasting changing area, but I'm telling you, marketing and of course the biotech, and I play in this area. Like majority of my clients, I work with this biotech, medtech, to fintech, technology. I've been in technology for 25 years, right? And I have seen the changes. And we need to be more responsible and more ethical towards our work, and educate proper, maintain the transparency. It is very, very important.
Well said. And I think in terms of that false narrative, we can just blame that on fake news as opposed to marketing. That's fine. But Priya, thank you very much for that response there. And given we've just had you have a chat, I'll give you a chance here to get your final thoughts across for being involved today, and also what you'd like our audience to take away from your company in particular.
So you're talking about me, James?
Yes, absolutely. So just give your final thoughts on being involved today, and also what you would like anybody who's tuned in today to be reminded of with your company and potentially getting involved with them.
I would suggest that, stay afloat. This is a very tough time, but it's a very interesting time as well. So especially in the innovation space, and there are a lot of companies are not around because they were not innovative. So be innovative, whatever space you are in, just be innovative and find out your ecosystem where you can actually give the value add. And my last thought is that no matter how small, you should have a corporate social responsibility. And you must, even if you have $1 to donate, must donate. $1 a day can make a lot of difference.
Very true, especially if you start buying an apple. Am I right there, Rajen?
We do.
I know you're very much about the healthy lifestyle, mate, but Priya, thank you so much for that. Rajen, we'll get your final thoughts as well for being involved today, and also what you'd like the audience to take away for your company moving forward.
I think, Holista represents how we are going back to nature after all this, right? How we're understanding that our inner health and inner strength matters in a pandemic, when we have shutdowns, right? How immunity needs to be boosted, and understanding that it's not one supplement, though we do supplement, but it's a lifestyle that we're trying to bring, right? So that's where we are today. But I think with the whole story of collagen, there's a future here, right? And I believe that as we all live longer and longer, there'll be a bigger need for collagen, both oral collagen, cosmetic collagen, but also down the line medical collagen, where you're part of the organ printing industry, which I believe will evolve significantly as we all get smarter, as we all get richer. The richer ones want to live longer, if not forever. And obviously, if you could print an organ, that would be a big change in the landscape going forward.
And at the moment, my printer doesn't even do basic paper, so that would be very exciting if we could get to that point. But Rajen, thank you so much for being involved today, mate.
Thank you.
Now, Thian, thanks for your patience. We'll finish with you, my friend. Obviously, I want to get your thoughts on getting involved with the webinar today, and also what we should be keeping in mind with Invion moving forward.
Well, I guess simplistically, what we're trying to do at Invion is we'd like to make a difference. And we believe we have a technology that can do that. And so firstly, watch out for what's going on the cancer space. We're aiming over the coming year or so to get into a clinic, and that will really make clinical trials. So that will be the first test of the technology in the human context. So that's something really exciting to be looking forward to. And then there should be also some other things to look out for on the heart disease, atherosclerosis, as well as the infectious disease side. So a lot of really interesting things. We believe we've got something special, and it's a space to watch out for. Now, if it's helpful for some of the viewers, there's a nice video link on our website which has Dr. Andrew Stevens, who heads up our research in the Hudson Institute. He has some very digestible videos that explain some of our technology and some of the work we've done, and I think that they should be quite educational for the audience.
I think that's a very good note. That's definitely something we should be checking out. You've certainly given us plenty of insights into what you're doing at the company, but never hurts to get a little bit more information, that is for sure. Thian, thank you so much for being involved today.
Great, thanks, James.
Well, Thian, Rajen, Priya, that's it for us. Thank you so much for your time today. And ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed this Invest-Nest webinar series edition. That is all for now, though. If you do have any further questions, you can, of course, get involved by hitting us up on the email info@Kalkine Media. If there was anything that you wanted to particularly ask any one of our experts, we'll make sure they get forwarded onto them. But for now, that is it for this edition. Been great to have your company. I'm James Preston, signing off for Kalkine.